Hey, welcome back. This will be my second attempt at tier listing. This time we're going for the second Premier League season of 1993-1994 because in a world this screwed up, why not listen to something a little bit more light-hearted? So, in the second Premier League season, I know it's crazy for kids today to think about, but there was a time when Premier League clubs did keep their kits or retain the kit designs for 2 seasons at a time. So there are many in the second Premier League season which were also the kits that the clubs had for the first Premier League season. So I will reference them and I'll try not to contradict myself too much by remembering where I initially put the kits so they're in the same tiers I initially put them in. And then, we'll get the new kits in the tiers that they belong in. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started. The Arsenal home kit. Now, this was, as you might know, retained from the original Premier League season. So, in the original Premier League season, I said it is a revered kit, not one of my favourites, but it obviously deserves a high placing. We ranked it in A, so we're going to put that in A ranking again to not contradict myself too much. So, let's put that in A. Okay. Now, the first new kit was the Arsenal away kit. Now, the bruised banana was gone, so weep over that if you must, but I think this is a very solid alternative. The Adidas stripes function as a sash going across the whole shirt, which I think is quite nice. It's not really black, more of a navy blue section of stripes. The JVC in red is outlined to make it stand out. Trim is okay, standard collar. They've gone for the Adidas in the central column with a sponsor, but they have put the badge to one side. Interestingly, quite a small Arsenal badge. It's not one of my favourites, but I think it's a fairly solid kit. I don't know whether I'm going to change this at the end, but right now I'm going to put this just behind in A tier. Solid enough kit. Now, the Villa home, I was a big fan of this. I think is an excellent use of pinstripes. Pinstripes thicker than you'd normally expect. But I think this is a great way of deploying the claret and blue that West Ham could have learnt a lot from. Excellent blue collar. The pinstripes, like I say, great colour shade of claret. Badge looks great. Classic sponsor Muller in a little red box, which I think works quite well. Asics has played a blinder here, really, so I'm really stuck about whether to put this in A tier or S tier. If I can find it, I'm going to. Okay, at the moment I'm going to put it in S tier. It's on the brink. I think that's between S and A, so we'll maybe revisit that later. The Villa away, they've gone for pinstripes again, but pinstripes outlining full stripes, which is kind of an interesting variation. Again, the classic sponsor, the Muller sponsor, works well in the red box here. I think because of how they've tried to surround a different variation of the pinstripes, outlining full stripes, I think they deserve good marks for that. Another solid effort from Asics. I think it's not S tier, but I think for the moment we're going to put that in A tier. So it's still very, very high caliber. Blackburn, you might recognise the Blackburn home hasn't actually changed since the first season. We put that originally in, or rather, I put that. Don't want to refer to myself in the third person. We put that. I put that originally in A tier. So let's put that in A tier for now. Disappointingly, the Blackburn away was also the same. So fair play to Blackburn for not ripping off their fans, but it's disappointing because there's no new Blackburn kit to look at from the second season. Regardless, we're going to put that in the same place. So Blackburn away, which was the AC Milan homage, that's going to go in A tier like it was last time. I can't for the life of me remember exactly what order. So yes, I might contradict myself by putting it in a slightly different order than it initially was in A tier. I'm sure that's not an unforgivable crime. Chelsea home. much prefer Amiga to the Commodore logo here. I think Amiga works a lot better, particularly the 3D effect they've got. So they've gone for the Amiga variation. Obviously, the Commodore is still a variation of the Commodore business. I've noticed that the blue here, you can see it actually has an Umbro pattern embroidered into the background. Now, one thing I noticed about this is Umbro, I don't know whether, I mean, Umbro must have had a bit of an ego trip here. I think we've gone slightly over the top with the Umbro reflection here. We've got the Umbro manufacturer badge here. We've got an Umbro manufacturer badge for some reason again down here. We've got embroidered into the background. We've also got it on the tag, but they saw fit also to put a red variation on the trim of the sleeves. So I think that's a little bit over the top. I think that maybe is marks against. But the sponsor looks a lot nicer. Decent enough kit. I'm not necessarily sure about the variation in terms of the shade of the red on the trim of the badge, the collar, and the cuffs. I'm actually tempted to put that top of B tier for now. It's not the worst Chelsea strip by any means, but yeah, for reasons discussed. So the Chelsea away, I have to apologise. I'm getting the listing here from footballkitarchive.com, which is a very good website. I'd recommend that. I might put that in the link below because that's where I get a lot of the information and screenshots. We originally put the away. I don't know whether this is officially Chelsea away or Chelsea third, but we're calling it how it was on Football Kit Archive, away strip. We originally put that nice variation of pinstripes and the lovely lace collar in A tier, so we're going to do that again. Where are we? Commodore. That can go in A tier. They actually had a spectacular third kit. Congratulations, Chelsea. I think that's a superb effort. The shade of yellow is lovely. There's even a yellow background on the badge, which I think works better than the background on the home badge. The pinstripe's another variation, so it's a thick pinstripe, but then there's a very thin white pinstripe in between the pinstripes. I think the definition of the contrast between the shade of yellow and the pinstripes is stunning. I'm actually going to put that in S tier. Well done, Chelsea. Now we're on to Coventry. Now, interesting fact, I presume it's a fact if I believe Football Kit Archive, and I've no reason to contradict them. Coventry seem to be the only Premier League team that did not change any of their three kits, should I say, from the first season of the Premier League to the second. So the home, away, and third are all the same designs and templates. And as you might remember, they all got a high ranking last time. In fact, the home and away were S tier caliber, which they're going to be again. I do remember that they were actually first and second, I believe, so we're going to put them there again. What's going on there? There we go. So first and second, and even the third. I really was a fan of the third. So that went into A tier. I think high level in A tier, so we're going to put that again, high level in A tier. So yeah, they're the only club I think that were unchanged between any of their kits in the second season. Every other club had a variation rather, of either their away or their third. Everton was, I mean, said before, the NEC typeface is a lot more fitting there. I like it. Nice chunky letters, much more fitting typeface. Nice bold blue colour. Trim's a bit unfussy, which is normally a good sign. But yeah, not sure there's quite enough going on to make it stand out. So Everton home, because they did clear up the typeface. So let's put them in the back of A tier for that. Where are we with the away? The away strip is actually the same, so they didn't change their away strip in the second season. Again, Although the outline of the typeface is quite nice there, I'm not a fan particularly of the typeface font, so that is marks against. And it landed in, although it did land in A tier because it was a nice variation in terms of the shade on the classic AC Milan homage. Big fan of their third, very nice use of pinstripes, nice contrast between the navy blue and the crisp white. The dark back into the badge is an interesting touch. You notice that the NEC, although it's in the correct font that I mentioned earlier, there's an almost imperceptibly slimmer. So the font is actually, the letters are less chunky, and I think maybe that does work for this kit. So I'm gonna make this A tier, and I'm probably gonna put it quite high. So let's put it up there for now. Right, Ipswich. I believe. Please comment if I'm wrong, but I think this is unchanged. The only thing I'm a bit uncertain about is the badge. The red back into the badge, is that the same? I don't know. Needless, the Ipswich home got high marks last time. That's a classic design of kit. So again, that's going to get fairly decent marks in A tier. So let's put that just ahead of the Arsenal for now. I think they've gone halfway between pinstripes and full stripes here. Kind of a middle ground. I don't think it really works. Yeah, I can see what they were trying to do. You'll notice that the shape is similar to the classic Arsenal home in terms of the, if it was a solid colour, it's the wife beater design, and then the sleeves take up a big section of solid colour. I appreciate they tried to give it something different. Doesn't quite work for me. Falls short of a decent kit, so I'm going to put that in B tier. Right, Leeds, they mixed it up. So they went from Admiral to Thistle Hotels. This was Asics again. Asics were always good value in the early mid-90s with their kit designs. The sponsor's a lot better, Thistle Hotels. Bit of a classic for Leeds here. Nice innovative trim stripe in the middle of their other colours. You know, Leeds always went with clean white and the trim of blue and yellow, bold blue and yellow. So it's nice enough. I don't think it makes S tier, but it's kind of a classic design there. So I'm going to put that, I think, A tier, quite high on A tier. Let's put that just behind the Arsenal strip, Arsenal home. I've got to say this is one of my favourites. High caliber strip this is. It's the boldness of the yellow and blue, I think, that does it for me, and just how chunky they make the stripes, and nothing like good chunky stripes. The only thing I would say is the sponsor looks possibly a bit drowned out. Could that have been in a more contrasting colour rather than just the white? Because it does seem to sort of be drowned out by the yellow stripes, so maybe that marks it down a bit. I was thinking of S tier, but maybe that's top of A tier rather, based on the logo. The Leeds third, the sponsor stands out obviously a lot better on that. The contrast is better. It's a good design. The colours, the colours almost make it. It's almost like an attempt to camouflage itself with the turf. I'm not sure the colours necessarily blend well together. The dark blue and the sort of dark green, but it's solid enough. Let's put that. I think maybe the back of A tier, but it's not as low as B. I think that probably gets A tier. Now, Liverpool, if you notice, if we cut out the sleeves and just look at the sort of wife beater section, the background embroidered design is identical to the Arsenal home, but the shade of red is a lot bolder, and I like that. You may also know, aficionados might notice, that this was the same Adidas template, or in fact, yes, it is an identical Adidas template, other than the badge placement, to the classic Bulgarian team. It's a Bulgaria away design. maybe slightly different shade of red, but otherwise it's identical template with a slightly different placing of the badge. We've gone with the sponsor, the badge, and the manufacturer in a column, one above the other rather than to one side. But that's a very solid Liverpool kit, and along with the Bulgaria, that's a pretty classic Adidas design. So that's going to get I'm going to get that quite high in A tier. So that's going to go above the Arsenal home kit. The away is exact same template, but obviously they've just done a variation of the colours. I think Carlsberg works better with that shade of sort of dark aquamarine style green, and the black stripes is nice, along with the trim on the collar. So that's going to get probably quite similar to the home kit. We'll put that a bit lower, but maybe there, just ahead of the Ipswich for now. Right, Manchester City home. That I think is. I thought this was quite dull. Normally I'm a fan of the fussy block colour. Don't think there's quite enough going on in terms of the sponsor popping or anything else going on. I'm not sure the sponsor works like that. And again, maybe Umbro have overdone the logo, with their logo also running around the ribbon on the trim of the cuffs. Yeah, that not as big a fan as the original Manchester City design. I might put that right at the back of A tier because it's not bad on its own merits. You might notice that the away didn't change. That weird shade of purple with the pinstripes. Always reminded me, that shade of purple always kind of reminded me of a felt tip running out, like a purple felt tip on its way to running out. So that got into B tier last time, so we're going to put that there again. City actually did have a third strip. You'll notice it's pretty similar to the Everton design, not quite as nice, I'd say. So where do we put Everton's strip? Yeah, we'll put that at the back of A tier. Still quite a nice kit design. So Manchester United only changed their away kit. So you might remember their home and third strip I gave S tier, and I know maybe it is biased because they were the championship winning team, but in fact all three of their strips will get into top tier here. Probably going to put that third for now, and then we've got the away, which was the classic black with gold and blue trim. And I'm afraid that makes S tier again for me. In fact, that will probably go third to the Coventry designs for now, I think. In fact, I would put the third strip, the Newton Heath colours, would probably beat the black and gold for me. So I'm going to put them there for now. Cards on the table, Newcastle home. This is possibly my favourite Newcastle home. I would say because I think the proportions of the stripes are just perfect. The collar is excellent, even if there aren't any laces. And I know there was a variation. There's also Macallan's Lager sponsor version, but that Newquay Brown Star is possibly even better. I can just picture Beardsley and Cole running riot in this strip. I'm not sure Newcastle improved on this. I know people would disagree, and there's the bias with their 95-96 strip when they challenge for the league. But this, to me, I don't think they've ever outdone this. In fact, this is getting an S tier. This is probably beating the Manchester United home, I think, for now. The Newcastle away, it's a good distinctive kit. Kind of a wishy-washy blue design. Classic Macallan's Lager. Sponsor, nice black collar. It's not top of the league, but I will give that maybe midway A tier. Yeah, I'm going to probably put that just ahead of the Liverpool away for now. Now, Newcastle's third, more innovative pinstripes again. Same thickness you might notice as I think the Villa pinstripes. Similar to Villa, I think it's almost identical to the Villa template. Again, strong work from Asics. I quite like, I think the tint of green works a bit better with this. I know what you might be thinking is pretty identical to the colour variation in the Leeds third strip. However, the Leeds third strip, despite having nice proportionate stripes, I think this pinstripe probably works a little bit better. So based on that, and also the classic sponsor, so that's going to nudge ahead. In fact, you know what? In fact, I prefer that to the Newcastle away, but I'm gonna retain it there. So probably just behind the Everton, but that's a very cool strip. You might remember Norwich made Norwich home the Jackson Pollock bird shit kit. I put that in S tier last time, so there's no reason not to put it back there. Where are we putting it though? Maybe just behind the United home. For the life of me, I forget where I originally put it. Norwich away. You might remember again, they haven't changed this in season 2. That made A tier last time, and it got marked down just because of how overly glossy the white of the kit was, even though that beautiful purple Crackalaw, and also I think it's also the innovative way that it's like the sleeves and the collar were the same color, and it kind of ran over like it was almost like sort of epaulette armor as such. The way that it was, the way it just ran across the sleeves and the collar. So maybe there, I think. A tier, let's say. Brilliant. I love this Norwich third kit. They just decided, well, let's just homage Wimbledon. And to be fair, Wimbledon is a great kit to homage. The only difference, if you notice, very subtle on the collar, there's a little green outline. Otherwise, you could easily mistake that, bar the badge and the sponsor, for a Wimbledon kit. But that is absolutely glorious. That is going straight in A tier. In fact, I'm only putting it behind the green and gold United third. Well done, Norwich, although quite how often they actually wore it, your guess is as good as mine, because who did they clash with in the Premier League realistically? Right, so Oldham. Sadly, their final season in the Premier League, so it gets nostalgia points because obviously Oldham aren't even in a league club anymore. Very tragic what happened to them. Interesting stripe design. You notice it's a little bit subtle, but you've got variations of dark blue on the sleeves and then a slightly lighter variation of blue on the stripes, which are outlined in red, and the red on the trim of the sleeves. And then we also have thinner stripes of lighter blue. So there's quite a lot going on. The JD Sports is a great sponsor, though. That really does pick it up, and then you've got, that's quite a nice, is it Umbro? No, it might be Umbro, but quite a nice little edge trim on the cuffs. Oldham badge with the owl, that's always classic. That's a decent effort from Umbro, so I'm going to put that, I think, nostalgia factor, I'm going to put it maybe towards the back of A tier. I might change that, but for the moment that's where it's going. I'm gonna it might surprise you, that's S tier for me. I love what they've done with this away strip. There's a really nice embroidered pattern going on in the background. It's like this dark aquamarine green with sort of navy sleeves. It looks like there's something going on in the sleeves as well. Lace up collar and a ribbon, a a navy ribbon that breaks up the collar as well. I mean, even the JD Sports, that's a massive logo, and I really like the way they've done that. The outline of the JD, but then the sports without the outline. Fair play to Oldham. I'm not even sure how much they wore that, but or whether it was their away or third. It says on Football Kit Archive it was their away, so we're going with that. I'm actually putting that right up there. That is possibly going just behind the black and gold, but actually probably ahead of the Newcastle. Well done, Oldham. That's the S tier. You might remember this is from the first season, a repeat, and I haven't changed my mind. I think that is a horrible kit. Ugliest sin. That's going back where it belongs. Exactly where Oldham ended up in the relegation zone. That's going to be D tier. So QPR changed sponsor. So they had a different design of their kits. They're solid enough. I think mediocre sponsor design, but I quite like the beer mat thing that they do with their logo. Quite intriguing. It's solid. It's not the best QPR design I've ever seen, but it's solid enough. That's probably going to make. I'm probably going to put it top of B tier for now because it's just it's a bit mediocre. However, I'm always a fan of that particular shade of sort of scarlet shade of red. That's a favourite of QPR to use their away kit. They've rather than go for just the white badge, they've had a dark background to the badge. That's quite nice. The beer mat logo probably works a bit better on this away shirt, so that's going to make A tier for me. Probably relatively high up. Let's put it ahead of Ipswich, but maybe behind the Liverpool away. However, the third, you might notice what they've done is here where the scarlet is trimmed with black, they've decided to trim with scarlet and have it all in black. That is very nice. That is a very nice kit. I'm pondering whether to put that as S tier. I think that might be S tier, Yeah, I think that's going to be back of S tier. I really like that kit. Even with a mediocre sponsor, excellent effort there. Sheffield United did not change their strip either, their home strip. That made A tier last time, so let's put that back in A tier. Probably a bit higher than that. I'd probably put that there. Their away kit, ugly for me. I don't necessarily, the colours, that shade of blue and that shade of aquamarine, not bad on their own. I just, that sash doesn't work for me. It really doesn't work, and they've thrown in a third shade of blue. It's a shame that it could have worked. Do you know what? I think if you remove that sash entirely, that would be a very good effort for a kit. But no, not for me. That's ugly-ish. That's going to go in C tier, actually. It's going to be the first in C tier. Sheffield Wednesday have now got a sponsor, you'll notice. Now, Sheffield Wednesday went all out here. You won't believe this, but they actually had, apparently, according to Football Kit Archive, 4 kits. 4 kits to outdo everyone. It wasn't enough to have 3. There were some clubs that only saw fit to have 2. And from my recollection, there's even, I think, West Ham, they only had 2 kits, and their away kit was literally just the reverse of the colours of their home. So, some clubs just didn't even try at all. Wednesday had 4 designs. So let's go through them. The first one, I think, is very similar to their design of their original season kit, but with the Sanderson logo, which I think does improve it. Sanderson's an excellent logo. And you notice the stripes on the arms are a bit strange. They try to make them kind of multiple pinstripes blended together rather than a solid blue stripe. Needless to say, though, regardless of all that, that is a very solid kit. I will probably put the home one. I'm going to put that in A tier. Probably Yeah, probably, I think ahead of the Ipswich, to be honest. Does that go up here? No, let's put it a bit too high. Come on. There we go. Put it there for now. Okay, their second kit. S tier, 100% S tier. That is just brilliant. Really good use. Gold pinstripes on a not quite black, or let's say faded black, but you'll notice there's some intricate patterns going on in the background here. That's Puma of really pulled out the stops here. That, and I know it looks better on long sleeves, but even on non-long sleeve, and look, even the Wednesday badge here. Look at that golden black owl. That is superb. That is S tier all the way. So that is going. That's actually going ahead of the United black and gold, just behind the Norwich Wimbledon homage. Really good from Wednesday. And now their third. Again, I'm a huge fan of their third. Lovely solid gold number with dark trim. Just everything about it. It just looks really aesthetically pleasing. Again, do you know what? I'm going to put this in S tier as well. I tell you what, Puma really did well in this. In fact, I'm going to put it ahead of that QPR number, but that's in S tier as well. So Wednesday have got 2 in S tier. Can they make it 3 out of 4? They can. Do you know what? That again is S tier for me. Look at that. They've got that same. Oh, it's Puma King. I see. It's like a Puma King logo design embroidered in the background. So they had that on their other kits as well. It looks great in white. Brilliant dark pinstripes. Looks stunning with long sleeve, but even the short sleeve would look great. And again, the Wednesday gold and black owl, the Sanderson colours. It's just class all over. That is going in S tier for sure. So where is it going though? I think that's actually going slightly ahead of the away strip, you know. There we go. Three quarters of the Wednesday kits are going in S tier. Those owls. The Puma did for the owl. Excellent stuff. Okay, Southampton did change up their kit for the second Premier League season. I really like these razor blade stripes. Obviously, it's a variation on the Pony logo. So their manufacturer was Pony, and you notice there's like the sash tick of the Pony logo that they've made as a stripe, outlined in black, outlined in fact in black and white, which really makes it stand out. I really dig that. I think that was a really good idea for a template. I really like the fact that these stripes are incomplete and they almost look like razor blades. I mean, you could argue would have worked better for Sheffield United, you see, and I think it looks almost like an afterthought, but the partial black outlines here, just the lines either side of these stripes, they just make all the difference of bringing the stripes out. And the fact that the sleeves are all red, this is an excellent Southampton kit. I'm not normally a fan of Southampton's kits, but this was one of their strongest. And you can picture Le Tissier, dribbling past 3 players and pounding one into the top corner in this strip more than any other. This is probably when he was at the height of his powers. So we're going to put this in A tier. I'm actually probably is it going ahead of Liverpool? Yeah, I'm going to put it ahead of Liverpool actually. So there we go. That's getting quite high. Same template. I don't think this really worked as well. I don't think the colours work. They've got, again, sort of a turquoise combined with a dark blue. Yeah, I like the pony tick stripe at the top, but yeah, the colour scheme just doesn't work as well as the red and white. So that's going good solid sponsor as well, I must say. That's probably going at the back of B tier, I think. And Swindon, bless them. 100 goal conceded, Python Swindon. You see there's some interesting, almost flame patterns embroidered into this, which you don't catch initially, but that's quite a nice design in there. Sponsors a little bit lame. I quite like Swindon's badge back then. Yeah, it's the embroidered pattern's quite nice. Sponsors a bit lame, unimaginative trim. Don't think the collar's particularly strong. I think that's probably going in C tier. Just not strong enough. I prefer the away strip, although it's kind of a pale yellow rather than the Norwich yellow. So it's kind of a pale version with green trim. But it's quite nice. I will put that higher than the home strip. Let's put that at the top of B tier. They actually had a third strip, apparently, Swindon did. So fair play to them for making the most of their one season in the sun. That's actually really nice. If the home strip was a bit of a wasted attempt and the away strip could have been better or stronger, that's the best. They've even expanded the Burma sponsor and done it in a different colour to make it stand out. That's nice. And really, yeah, nice strong collar, and the red pinstripes work well. And that's an intriguing shade of white. Almost looks like it's got a white red tint to it. I don't think it does, but yeah, that's similar to kind of, I think, a Chelsea number that we've seen in the past. But maybe this Commodore one. But I would put it higher than that. I'm going to put that probably just ahead of the Arsenal for now. Actually, I'm going to put it ahead of the Ipswich. The Tottenham home. So this, it's a slight variation on the kit from their first season, but it's still glorious. Really, it makes a wise choice, not having too much going on, just bold white, navy blue trim, Holston classic sponsor, not too much going on. It's just nice bright white, like from a Daz advert. So that is definitely going to get into A tier. I think probably top of A tier, to be quite honest. So let's put that there. Away strip, you might Spurs didn't actually change their away or third though, so you might remember I wasn't a huge fan of either of these. The away strip went into, I think, C tier, and the third strip, which for those who haven't seen it before, it's just crummy, really crummy, just bad attempt at pinstripe. I don't like the shade of blue, the cringy Spurs running across the top. So that's taken its well-deserved place in D tier. So West Ham made their return to the Premier League. As you can see, Pony have done a similar template to the Southampton, only without the stripes. But they've got instead intriguing little, I guess, again, Pony sort of ticks, only vertical, embroidered into the background. That's actually one of my favourite West Ham strips. I don't think West Ham tend to have very many strong strips, in my opinion. That was one of my favourites. Quite like the way you have the pony strip kind of tick at the top, and then you have a little reprise down here. Dagenham Motors, of course, classic. Like we were talking about with Norwich, with their sponsor, it's good to have a sponsor that kind of represents the area that the club comes from. So Dagenham Motors was good. So West Ham will get into A tier, I think. So that's probably going to go not that high. Probably maybe just behind the Sheffield United. I don't like their away strip, I'm going to be honest. I think if your home strip is claret and blue, I don't know why you'd make your away strip blue and claret. Like literally the same shade of blue as well. Like, could you not make a variation on the colour, make it stand out more? So no, I'm not a fan of this at all. It's not the worst. I don't think it's bad enough to get into D tier, but it's going to be the back of C tier for me. Okay, Wimbledon really changed it up in the second Premier League season. That is much more like it. LBC classic sponsor. And who do we have? Is that Ribeiro for the manufacturer? You can see there's a little bit of an intricate pattern going on here as well, embroidered into it. Lovely yellow trim as well. That is a very solid Wimbledon effort. And like most of Wimbledon's home kits in that era for me, that's going in S tier. Do you know what? I think the Norwich probably slightly outdoes it though. So probably just behind that. In fact, I'm going to put that slightly behind that Wednesday 4th kit. They're away. I really like that again. That's a really nice, intricate design. It's like a golden tint to yellow. I wouldn't say it's gold, but it's a gold tint. Just again, I can't go into too much detail really. I think that's S tier. That's S tier for me. I'm going to put it there, probably just behind that golden Sheffield Wednesday number. And finally, the Wimbledon 3rd. Obviously, it's one of their favourite colour tints. More great patterns you can see embroidered into the background. Really kind of makes it stand out. That crimson red with the dark trim really works for me. Look at the badge all in black, really standing out. It's pretty immaculate for me. Again, I have to put it's S tier standard. Really is. So probably no. I'm going to probably let me see. Is that better than the? I'm probably going to put it just behind the gold tinted one. Okay, so finally, let's have a quick look at these. Am I happy with the order of this? I think I'm probably going to move that. Actually, no. I think the red trim keeps that up there. I think I'm relatively happy with these. I'll probably move that Southampton above that. In fact, above that as well. Are we? I'll probably move the Tottenham ahead, so Oldham's going to be last. Are we happy with that? I think I'm happy with that. So I think that is my final judgment. So let me know what you think. Tell me if I'm talking a load of nonsense or what your particular order would be. And in the meantime, I hope you take care of yourself, and I will hopefully see you soon.